math, walang maiiwan. Math-sayang Math-aral tayo ng Math-tuto, upang ika'y umasenso. Maging matyaga, maging matalino, halina Math-aral na tayo. Maging matyaga, maging matalino, halina Math-aral na tayo. Halina Math-aral na tayo. Halina Math-aral na tayo. Halina, 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 Math-aral na tayo.
Hi mga ka-SOAR! Welcome to our Project SOAR, series of online academic review for Quarter 4, Week 6. Ako nga pala si Teacher Anne and I will be your home learning partners for this week. Bago tayo magsimula, ihanda muna ang inyong papel, ballpen, calculator, and of course, your module. Handa na ba kayong Math-tuto? Tara na!
Our lesson for today is using appropriate measures of position and other statistical methods in analyzing and interpreting research data. The objectives of our lesson is to use appropriate measures of position and other statistical methods in analyzing and interpreting research data. Before we start, let us have a review of some topics that was discussed from the previous weeks through this game we call the word hunt. First, let us find the word quartile. I will give you 10 seconds to find it. Have you found it? The word quartile is here. Now let us recall what quartile is. Quartile are score points which divides a distribution into 4 equal parts. We have quartile 1 or Q sub 1, which we also call the lower quartile, that is the 25% or less of the distribution. We have quartile 2 or Q sub 2 is equal to the 50% or less of the distribution, that we also call the median. We have quartile 3 or Q sub 3 that we also call the upper quartile, that is 75% or less of our distribution. We also have the interquartile range, which is equal to the Q sub 3 minus Q sub 1. In finding the quartiles for ungrouped data, we use the formula Q sub k is equal to k divided by 4 times n plus 1 to determine the position of your Q sub k. And then for your group data, we use the formula Q sub k is equal to LB plus kn divided by 4 minus CFB all over FQK times I, where LB is equal to the lower boundary of Q sub k, N is a total frequency, CFB is the cumulative frequency below your Q sub k, FQK is equal to the frequency of your Q sub k class, K is the nth quartile, and then I is the size of the class interval. Now let's find the word decile. Again, I will give you 10 seconds to find it. Have you found it? The word decile is here. Remember, decile are 9 score points which divides a distribution into 10 equal parts. To find the decile for our ungrouped data, we use the formula d sub k is equal to k divided by 10 times n plus 1 position or score. And then we do the linear interpolation. For our group data, we have the formula d sub k is equal to LB plus k times n divided by 10 minus CFB all over FDK times I. Now, let us find the word percentile. I will give you again 10 seconds to find it. The word percentile is here. Remember, percentile are values that separates a data into 100 equal groups. It is used to describe values according to the percentage below them. To find the percentile for our ungrouped data, we use the formula P sub k is equal to k divided by 100 times n plus 1. And then we do the linear interpolation. And then for our group data, we use the formula P sub k is equal to LB plus k times n divided by 100 minus CFB all over FPK times I. Next, let's find the word data. I will give you again 10 seconds to find it. The word data is here. Data is factual information such as measurement or statistics used as a basis for reasoning, discussion, or calculation. These are facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis. These are units of information, often numeric, that are collected through observation. In a more technical sense, data are a set of values of qualitative or quantitative variables about one or more persons or objects. We have different ways to gather data. First one, some data were already available, such in a school, government, or in a website. 2. We can also gather data through surveys, questionnaires, interview, or even observations. Next, let's find the word mean. I will give you again 10 seconds to find it. Okay, the word mean is here. So what is a mean? The mean or average is calculated by adding up the scores and dividing by the total number of scores. In statistics, it is a measure of central tendency of a probability distribution along median and mode. It is also referred to as unexpected value. To find the mean of our ungrouped data, we have the formula mean is equal to x sub 1 plus x sub 2 plus x sub 3 plus so on and so forth plus x sub n divided by n. And to find the mean for our group data, we have the formula mean is equal to the summation of f times m all over the summation of f. Now let's start with our lesson. But first, let us have the following definition of terms. First, we have data analysis. Data analysis is the process of systematically applying statistical and/or logical techniques to describe and illustrate, condense, and recap and evaluate data. An essential component of ensuring data integrity is the accurate and appropriate analysis of research finding. Next, we have the statistical methods. Statistical methods are mathematical formulas, models, and techniques that are used in statistical analysis of raw research data. The application of statistical methods extract information from research data and provides different ways to assess the robustness of research outputs. Remember, in using these measures of possession such as quartiles, deciles, and percentiles, and even the mean to describe a data, and knowing how to interpret them will be very beneficial. Now let's have an example. The students took the exam in Mathematics 10 and the results are presented in the table below. First, let's calculate the mean of the scores and identify the 50th percentile and the second quartile. Now let's calculate the mean of the score. Step 1. Determine the midpoint of each interval. To determine the midpoint of each interval, we have to follow the formula lower class limit plus higher class limit divided by 2. Let's say, for example, we want to find the midpoint of the class interval 6 to 10. So we have 6, which is the lower class limit, plus 10, which is the higher class limit, divided by 2. So that will be 16 divided by 2, which is equal to 8. Therefore, the midpoint of the class interval 6 to 10 is 8. By doing the same process in the other class interval, we have 11 to 15 is equal to 13, 16 to 20 is equal to 18, we have 21 to 25, which is 23, and then 26 to 30, which is 28. Step 2 is to multiply the frequency to the midpoint of the class. So we have 6 times 8 is equal to 48, 17 times 13 is equal to 221, 34 times 18 is equal to 612, 25 times 23 is equal to 575, and 18 times 28 is equal to 504. And then, find the summation of the frequency and the midpoint. So we have 1960. Step 3 is to find the mean by finding the quotient of the summation of f times m and the summation of f. Remember this formula in finding the mean for group data. Mean is equal to the summation of f times m over the summation of f. So we have mean is equal to 1960 divided by 100. So the value of our mean in this problem is 19.60. Now let's solve for the 50th percentile of our problem. Remember, to find the nth percentile of group data, we use the formula P sub k is equal to LB plus k times n divided by 100 minus CFP all over FPK times I. Step 1 is to complete the table of values we need to find the 50th percentile. So the first thing that we should do is to prepare a column for our lower boundary or LV and the less than cumulative frequency or the CFD. The definition of our lower boundary and the less than cumulative frequency was discussed during quarter 4, week 2 of our project CLAID. Please visit them again. So the lower boundary of our class interval 6 to 10 is 5.5, 11 to 15 is 10.5, 16 to 20 is 15.5, and then 21 to 25 is 20.5, and lastly 26 to 30 is 25.5. While the cumulative frequency for 6 to 10 is 6, 11 to 15 is 23, 16 to 20 is 57, 21 to 25 is 82, and 26 to 30 is 100. Step 2 is to compute for the position to determine the 50th percentile class. To determine the class of our 50th percentile, we have P sub k is equal to kn divided by 100. So we have 50 times 100 divided by 100. So the location of our 50th percentile will be the 50th score. By identifying the range of our cumulative frequency, so we have 6 to 10, which is the 1 to 6 score. 11 to 15 will be the 7 to 23rd score. 16 to 20 will be the 24 to 57th score. 21 to 25 will be the 58 to 82nd score. And then 26 to 30 will be the 83 to 100 score. So we can say that our 50th percentile will be in this class, which is 16 to 20. Step 3 is to compute for the 50th percentile. Now that we know that our 50th percentile will be in the class of 16 to 20, we have now to identify the given. So our lower boundary will be 15.5. Our n, which is the summation of our frequency, will be 100. The cumulative frequency below will be 23. Our I will be 5. And the frequency of our 50th percentile is 34. We can now substitute our given to our formula. So we have P sub 50 is equal to the lower boundary, which is 15.5, plus our K, which is 50, times N, which is 100, divided by 100, minus 23, which is our cumulative frequency, all over 34, which is the frequency of our 50th percentile, times 5, which is our class interval. So we have the 50th percentile is equal to 15.5 plus 50, which is the answer to this part, minus 23 all over 34 times 5. So we have the 50th percentile is equal to 15.5 plus 27 divided by 34 times 5. So we have the 50th percentile is equal to 15.5 plus 3.970588824. So our 50th percentile will be 19.47. Now let us solve for the second quartile. Remember, to find the n quartile of group data, we use the formula Q sub k is equal to LB plus k times n over 4 minus CFB all over FQK times I. So let's just skip this part because it's just the same as the process when we solve for the lower boundary and cumulative frequency for our 50th percentile. Now let's go to step 2, compute for the position to determine the Q sub 2 class or quartile 2 class. To determine the class of our quartile 2, we have Q sub k is equal to k times n divided by 4. So we have 2 times 100 divided by 4. So the location of our second quartile will be the 50th score. And that will fall under the 16 to 20 class interval. Next, step 3 is to compute for the quartile 2. So, since we already identified the location of our quartile 2, which is in our 16 to 20 class interval, we can now identify the given. Our lower boundary will be 15.5. Our n is 100. Our less than cumulative frequency will be 23. Our I will be 5. And the frequency of our quartile 2 is 34. We can now substitute the given to our formula. So we have Q sub 2 is equal to 15.5 plus 2 times 100 divided by 4 minus 23 all over 34 times 5. Next, we have 15.5 plus the answer to this part, which is 50 minus 23 divided by 34 times 5. Next, we have 15.5 plus 27 divided by 34 times 5. So we have 15.5 plus 3.970558824 4. So our Q sub 2 is equal to 19.47. Notice that the value of our 50th percentile is equal to the value of our second quartile. It means that 50% of the class obtain a score of less than or equal to 16 to 20, and 50% obtain a score of greater than or equal to 16 to 20. Thank you so much for watching!